Reset the mic. There we go. All right. Good afternoon, Shaggy SoCal with 2 for Forza. And I thought I'd actually be watching the Indy 500 right now, but it seems that the rain has hit at just the wrong time in Speedway. And at least, before I jumped on, I think it was still raining at the Speedway. And even once it stops, it's going to take them an hour or so, anywhere between an hour to 2 hours to dry the track. So we'll see how the 500 goes. I hope they can get it in today. It's always best to run it on Sunday, but I figured might as well take a little bit of time and at least get one of these track guides done for next week's tracks here. So again, week 2 in this BMW was it the 3.0 CSL. This week's tracks are going to be Nurburgring GP, and then the other one will be Suzuka, the full Grand Prix circuit there as well. Two very similar tracks as far as how they're laid out, though different dag rates on the tires. So for the track guides, again, because I'm trying to also incorporate in, giving you some information on tire life. I don't know that I'm going to quote like, here are the recommended strategies, because I really don't know. I can only tell you what I think you'll, at least based off my driving, what the tire dag might be like. There's still too many other little factors that can influence it there. So what I'll do is I'm going to run a couple of laps here. Just what I would normally do is just run a couple of refresher laps just to get my brain thinking about what this car is doing around Nurburgring here. I'm going to run it on medium tires with the 4X dag and actually the full race worth of fuel. I know that does impact tire wear, but I'd rather run that, have a little more wear to show to kind of validate the lap, as far as the lap counts. It's what I was using, the same kind of process to get a read on the tires earlier. At that point, I'll probably then give a recommendation before I get into the track walk. Maybe just give you those lap counts of where I think the tires are going to fall off the cliff. Do the track walk. A couple of things I've noticed this car likes, doesn't like, and then I do need to practice. Clearly, I need to practice based off Mid Ohio, and that's part of what I do normally. So I'm sharing what I do with you. So with that being said, let's just go ahead, and I've got everything set up. Let me just double check the car. I should have 16 laps of fuel in there. That says 17. It's right on that precipice. That's fine. Medium 4X. And I like doing the mediums because I figure that's a good read. At least it gives me a baseline handling. Figuring the hard tire is going to be a little slipperier, soft tires a little stickier. So medium's it's the Goldilocks compound. That's a weird one. All right, let's go ahead and start race. I'm talking too much. It's getting weird. So I'm just going to do 2 laps and then get a read on tire wear at the end of the second lap, and we'll see where things are at. Okay, braking as that pole goes out of view. Probably leave it in third here. Roll back into the throttle. Okay, and I'm going to brake at the first braking board here, right where the road kinks for turn 1. So right there, and that's a bad line in. And you go where you look, and I was looking at the edge of the track. Okay, second gear through here, roll back in. Brake just at the bottom of the flat here. Still second gear. Roll under the throttle. Careful of using the curves there. You can use a little bit more of that access road or that crossover road there. Third gear, brake at that axis or the crossover. Out. Second gear, keep it to the inside. Down the hill. So Gonna spot that access road, but I want to brake up just at the green right past it. Down to the second gear. Roll into the throttle, use a bit of that exit curbing. Point the car towards the beginning of the next curbing on the outside. Ease off the throttle and turn in. That was a little bit early. Always takes me a few laps to get the rhythm there. Again, just watch the wheel spin as you're going through the Schumacher S. That was almost too late. Now it's still third gear. Brake at the discoloration on the pavement. Back into the throttle. Down the back straightaway. So I can see the two braking boards up ahead, the first one and the second one. The braking for me is kind of about halfway between them. And abuse the Scheiße out of those curbs if I can. Okay, one lap done. Ooh, pushing a little bit. That's not good for tire wear. And we'll do one more. Fourth gear. Let's try not to go off on the edge of the track. So I'm going to keep it a little bit more towards the middle. And that way my braking is straight. Yeah, I'll figure that one out. Probably use a bit more of the inside of the curbing there. Brake there. Car's pushing a little bit. And that was probably very early on the brakes, but keep it to the left. Turn back to the right. A little bit of a lock of the brakes there. Hill. See if I do this a little bit better this time. That's a little bit better. Come on, find a gear. Have to think about that one. Okay, so we're going to cross the line and do a tire check. $16.9. Okay, so let's see what did I do on nope, not that one. Let's see, that was the end of lap 2, and we're just a little over 16%. So actually I was a little bit better on tires on the controller. So we'll have to do a little bit of revalidation. But let me give you the read on the tires. Again, I did kind of this similar test, at least initially on controller, just to get an idea of like, okay, if I run, and actually I ran the tire until it got to 60%, and then just kind of noted what lap that was on. So the initial read of the tires are as follows. So I'm going to give the lap counts as far as soft, medium, and hard. 5 laps, 8 laps, and 11 laps. And what that means is that somewhere on, we'll use the softs for example, somewhere on lap 5, the tire went to, the tire went to hit 60%. Don't quite remember exactly where on the lap it hit 60%, but it hit 60% at that point. And as we learned, is especially from the week 1 races, as the tire wear hits, it'll start to, you'll get your peak grip at the beginning, and then it starts to kind of slowly drop, through 25, 30, 40%. 50, it starts to accelerate a little bit. That's when you get the first alert for minor tire wear. 60% seems to be kind of the drop off. It's like once you get past 60, that the grip just starts taking a plummet. So my thought is that once you hit 60%, you've got a choice to make. If you hit it in 60% early in the lap, you might want to think about pitting at the end of that lap. If you actually are really good on your tires and you're not hitting that 60% until late in the lap, you've got a little choice to make. It's like, okay, if you stick it out for one more lap past 60%, the grip's going to go away. You're going to give up a bit of time, but maybe you need to do that based on whatever you're setting for your tire strategy. Maybe you need to get that for the case of the mediums, you need to get 9 laps instead of 8. It looks like at least here, it's a little higher than I think what I had on the controller. So again, I'll revalidate at least two of the compounds during the mock race. But there it is. Yeah. So 5 laps, 8 laps, and 11 laps on your 3 compounds. Again, tires will probably go 60% at some point on those laps. So plan your strategy accordingly. So let's talk about the track walkabout, what I think this car is going to like and what it's not going to like. And so come down to turn one. Again, it does kink a little bit right at the braking zone. So I'm kind of looking, again, depending on the tire and depending on the life, I might be braking as early as the 150 board. Really, for me, I think the latest I would dare brake is here where the grass starts here on the left side. I don't know, and I haven't. It's been, I haven't really run a lot of the softs. I don't even know if on the softs I can go start braking at the curbing or where the timing line is. So we'll see how that plays out. But excuse me. Generally, fourth gear, let the car come out. Try and stay off the curbing here as much as you can because you are going to be under threshold braking, max braking. And if you get your left sides, you've got a little bit of wiggle room with the curb, but then it's just grass right after that. That'll unsettle the car. And then, kiss trying to hit the apex, goodbye, you're going to be going off wide. So I would say, you can get close to the edge here, and ideally it's probably the right thing to do. But maybe, as you're coming up to speed, give yourself a smidgen room because you don't have a lot of help, from extra pavement or pavement or curbing on the left side. But down to second gear, ideally, I haven't gotten it right yet. But yeah, as far as the turn in, I want to try and keep the cone in place as long as it's there. But ideally, this is one. Can you get on the inside? Can you get just clobber that inside curbing? Yeah, I mean, if you really want to make an aggressive pass, I think lap over lap, the the fewer bumps I subject this car to, I think the better it does. And so for me, turn one, I don't want to be, I want to be as close to the curbing as I can get. I probably won't be dropping tires onto it or crossing over it, unless I mess up and have to take evasive action. But turn one there, out, roll back of the throttle, let the car come out to the left side. I'll try to bring it back a little bit if I can. Second gear, maybe just release the throttle and turn in. You might need, depending on the compound, maybe just a little brush brake to help keep the car settled. And the other thing I want to point out is, we'll see how I do in my practice race when I kind of get into rhythm and working traffic, is you can hook the tires a little bit on the inside grass. Can you kind of see from the wear that, the game is suggesting that previous drivers have dropped the left side tires off into the grass just on the other side of the curbing. And you can do that here. I have not been in a situation yet where I've done that and have had the car pitch sideways on me all of a sudden or snap loose. So you can use a little bit of that inside curbing. I would just say mind how much throttle you're giving it. You don't want to, you know, you know, you don't want to get all stabby with the throttle, but certainly you can use that a little bit if you need to. Let the car come out. This next left-hander is, I think, to me, one of the most deceptively difficult turns on the track, especially for this car, especially with the tire wear and the varying compounds. There's really I don't have any other reference points that I've found that I can say, oh, if this is going out of vision, then I know to brake. Really, what I'm looking for, it is by feel, but what I'm trying to feel is, you're coming down the hill, is when the track starts to flatten out, is about where I'm going to be getting on the brakes. The other thing I'm noticing is, and it might become more evident as the track rivers up, but you can see the rubbered line coming out of the next curve corner. But where that kind of starts, where the pavement does start to darken because of that rubbering, is about I want to be braking just as I'm getting to it. I don't want to get to it and be on it and then brake. That's a little too late because you got to figure that rubbering mark is where they're turning in and where the weight's getting pushed onto the tires because of weight transfer or braking, and it's putting rubber into the pavement. So if I kind of use that discoloration and say I want to brake just as I get to it, safe bet that that I'll get the braking done. And just as I'm sitting here and I'm kind of looking, if the little drainage gutter there was a little more prominent, that might also be for me. It might be a reference point, but at this point, I'm looking kind of straight ahead to see where the coloration of the pavement changes, and try to keep my eyes on the apex, because it is very easy to miss the braking and push wide here. So again, if you're consistent and you don't do that, and somebody does, you've now got the opening to kind of take to the inside. This is also deceptive from a passing standpoint because I think the ideal setup is to kind of be out to the right side, to set this turn up and do a late apex, because you're going into a left-right combo. So it leaves the door open for somebody to decide that they want to be like Senna and go for a gap that may not exist as long as they think it does. So we'll see how that plays out. Usually we're pretty good, collectively getting through this corner with minimal. It's low speed enough too, so shouldn't really have anybody, getting taken out or punted off the track. But again, as I said, it's for me. This is a late apex second gear corner, and if you want to use the inside rumble strips, you can. You can get the car pretty far over. I would still try and late apex it as much as possible, because if I'm here and I'm trying to get back to power, it's going to be very difficult to really keep the car to the left side. The car's going to really kind of shoot up towards the center. And if you're in traffic, we'll see how it plays out. But ideally, as I come out of this corner, I want to be as far to the left as I can get based on momentum like that to set up for the next corner. And the next right-hander, as I turn in, this one is another one. Be careful. I am going to try and late apex it, and if I do it right, I'm going to get tires onto the flat red and white curbing. I'm going to try and use that. What you really need to watch out for is the angled red and white curbing. That especially if if you're in a situation where you take the turn, you miss it with the fronts, but you hit it with the rear, it's just going to the back of the car is just going to bounce and get you all unsettled coming out of the corner, put you into a bit of a tank slapper as you're trying to get back to power. Because at that point, you're trying to roll back into power onto the short straight here. So be careful of that angled curbing. On the exit, rolling back into the throttle, I'm actually probably going to aim for the green here and straddle. Again, this is the part of the course that if we were doing the full Nordschleife and GP circuit, this is the little pass through, so we don't have to do the whole previous intersection. So I'm going to go ahead and abuse this on the way out, and I'll probably hit the green tiles with tires crossing back over. If you go on YouTube and you look up Sabine Schmitz passing people in the rain and that outlap, I'm pretty sure they do the full inner thing, but I do remember the line she was taking to get around people. She was going out that far to get around people. Anyhow, bring the car back to the right side, second gear, third gear, fourth gear if you want. You probably can wind it out in third. Braking for the next corner is about, and again, depending on the tire, I'm going to be using this other little axis rub pass through, cut through for the GP circuit. I'm going to use this as kind of a braking point. Either I'm going to be braking depending on the tire life. I'll probably be braking at the start of it if I'm not sure what the tires are going to do, or if the tires are cold or they're worn. As I get more confident, or if I'm on softer compound, I might be braking, a bit later, maybe, up as far as here. Again, it's really going to be done for me since I don't have the braking line on. It's going to be done by feel more than anything else. But I think to brake past this point, no matter the tire, you're either got to be really, really solid on your braking, or you're going to be pushing wide through this left-hander, and it might slightly compromise then the right-hander heading down to the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. So brake, 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 still third gear. Again, turning in right where that about starts. I might get on the curbing here a little bit. Curbing here at Nurburgring is much kinder than, let's say, Hockenheim. Let the car come out. Now, I think probably what I will do is, and this kind of goes a little bit against, I always talk about when you have left-right combos that, sacrifice, your exit of the first turn so they can, maximize your cornering speed and your exit speed for the second one. This one, I kind of violate that a little bit, right? I just find that this is a little bit short enough of a straight where maybe I'll carry a little bit of speed through here because it is a fairly fast corner. It's not quite 90 degrees, but I will try and bring the car back at least to try and get it back to about mid-track or a little to the right of mid-track, and brake right. And again, the braking here is another one of these where I am looking kind of this combination of where it's just not quite where the curving starts. You can kind of see the discoloration on the pavement. That's about where I'm going to be braking. It might line up better with where the outside, tire bundles start there, to try and find that braking point. But third gear down to second gear, bring the car out a little bit, turn in, get on the curbing, you get on the curbing a little bit, roll back into the throttle, still second gear, out, use a bit of the exit curbing here, and now you're heading down the hill. So second gear, third gear, maybe even fourth gear, depending on the tires, depending how good your exit is. Now for me, the braking, depending on the tire, is I don't know that I'm going to be braking normally in like previous cars like that. I'm braking right where this curbing starts. I think just with the wear and like that, the earliest I'm going to, my outlaps might be somewhere where this emergency or the access right here is on the left. Usually what I'm aiming for is I don't see the 100 board at all. I think where my vision and peripheral works, I'm really not saying I see the board there. I don't always see it. It's the 100 board. It's easier for me to spot the grass. So as I'm coming down the hill, it's easy to see access road, grass, curb, and I just kind of aim for that grass of like, okay, I'm going to brake in there. And then depending on how confident I'm feeling, it's like, how late do I want to dare brake? So soft tires, oh yeah, I'm gonna brake where the next curving starts. Hard tires, I'll probably brake where the green starts, and then the mediums is somewhere in between. Who knows? Maybe when the hards get up to temperature, I can brake a little bit later. So we'll see how that goes. But for me, braking, I tend to diamond this a little bit, where instead of braking in a straight line parallel with the left side of the track, I'm actually gonna kind of cut across and kind of dive the front of the car into the banking, into the hairpin here at the bottom of the hill. So I'll usually kind of brake this way, and as I get to the inside curving down to second gear, turn the car in. And now this one, I tend to take the more traditional line. I get it into the apex and just hug the inside line and then take a normal line out. Others might try might try braking a little bit more on the left side and take a wider entry and late apex it. I don't know which one is better than the others, but just note, like, if you're fighting someone and they're taking that later line and you're going to stick your nose in there, if you're still seeing any part of the front of their car, especially from the door forward, you're not quite as far alongside as you think you are. So if you're still seeing a lot of the car and they've taken the wider entry, just hopefully they know you're there and they leave you a little room, but don't be surprised if they just not, hey, the arrow doesn't show that they're beside me. And it's not an intentional chop, but it is a possibility that'll happen. I think it was more prevalent at some of the laps. Bradger, Mid Ohio in the key hole, he takes the late apex on the way out, and there's a couple times it's like, oh, he's coming back across. I need to back out of it a little bit, but again, just be mindful of that through the hairpin. As I exit out, I am going to use the curbing here on the left side, probably late. Get on the curbing here again. Curbing much kinder than other places. Then coming up for the Schumacher S. As I'm coming off, as I'm coming off the left side curbing, I'm going to start bringing the car back across the side, but I'm actually looking at where the curbing on the outside starts, and I'm just going to point straight towards it. Because my goal is I want to have the car on the right side, and I actually want to get my right side tires on the curbing. And this is where I still have to sort out the timing. Is as I get under the curbing, that's as I get to the car to the curbing, I hit the curbing. I think I have to get both tires on first. Um, is where then I'm going to let off the gas and turn in for the Schumacher S. Now, the apex of the Schumacher S, where's the apex, you might ask? See that tire mark on the inside of the curbing? That's a good reference point for the apex. If you can get your car off the curbing on the right side and onto the curbing here, you know, and you're still kind of turning, you should then, as you come off this curbing, be fairly straight pointed towards the apex of the second part of the Schumacher S. And then, as you saw my outlaps, I'm going to abuse the crap out of this curbing as well. Get up on it. The only things you want to be careful of is, again, you're still kind of balancing the car with the throttle. You're not going to be able to do it flat. And just anytime you're going to get the car onto the curbings as you're coming off, if you still have steering in, just be mindful of your throttle. You might feel the back tires spin up a little bit, the back might kick out. I haven't had a situation yet where I felt that the car was going to snap on me. Doesn't mean that it won't. And again, I'm doing my testing in kind of heat of the day kind of conditions. Um, Middle of the night, that Schumacher S might get more treacherous than hard tires or on hard tires. Coming out Schumacher S, you'll go out to the left side, bring the car back over to the right. For me, braking here at the top of the hill, you're going to pass under the gantry. Um, Depending on the tire, if it's the soft tire, you might be able to brake as late as where the green, painted curbing or painted asphalt there starts, or where the timing line is currently. Um, that is aggressively late. I think on most of the other tires, I'm going to be braking kind of in between the gantry I just passed under and where that starts. Again, it's going to be done by feel or what I feel the tires are doing, through the previous corners. Um, but fourth gear, it is for me. It seems to be a third geared corner, and this is one as you turn in. If you brake early, you can go ahead and you can get the car the left sides on this curbing. It doesn't upset the car too much. Just if you get on that curbing too early, again, the early apex means you're going to have an early exit and you're going to probably shoot across the track a little quicker than you think. So you might need to balance the throttle, to get the car rotated, but, bring the car out to the right side, bring it back across. This is another corner. I don't have any clear reference that I can say, when I'm passing this. Really what I'm looking for right now in daytime is the track rubbering. Again, I can see the dark rubbering right where the apex of the curving is, but you can see it kind of fades up a little bit where then it kind of blends in where it's kind of like the normal light gray of the asphalt, but where it starts to darken. That's what I'm looking for. I haven't found anything else to use yet. Certainly at night, it's harder to see the track rubbering, or it goes opposite. The track rubbering actually tends to shine more than the regular asphalt, so it's kind of an opposite effect. We'll see how well the Nurburgring is lit at night if we start late enough. But the braking is right about here. Still third gear, not going all the way out to the left side because it's a little too easy. And to bring the car all the way back over and drop left side tires, you've got no help over there. But again, third gear as I stall the car, turn in, might get on the curving here a little bit, maybe not. Roll back into the throttle, third gear, third gear, fourth gear. Again, I'm going to go ahead and go through the corner. Again, you can use that curving if you need to. And again, I haven't talked about it yet. This one, I don't know. Again, depending on what I'm doing in the car, what the car's doing, I don't think you need to go all the way to the left side on the exit of that kink here on the back stretch. Mid track is fine because you're going to need to bring the car back over to the right. For me, the braking here, is for this corner is somewhere between the 150 and the 100 board. The only other reference I can kind of go off of is you can kind of see the 100 board here, but you also see the 100 board that's kind of elevated off the Armco. What I find is when the Armco 100 board goes out of view, we're about halfway between the 100 and the 150 board. This seems to me to be the most consistent place for me to brake, regardless of tire, to set up for the chicane here. Um, Getting the braking right going into the chicane is critical. You really want to be consistent and get the car slowed down, because it isn't about the entry, it's about the exit. And this is the one I need to sort out. Controller users, you guys have the advantage here. For the wheel users, here's the risk. And actually, let's set it up this way. Let's go settings. Let's go full suggested line because I want to see what the game shows. So we'll compare what the game is going to tell you to do with what I'm going to tell you to do. And then you in your own practice can decide who's right and who's wrong. And I'm not going to say I'm right. So brake, 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 brake. Well, let's just get the car up here and take a look at what we've got. So what I think the game wants you to do is the line is more neat and tidy. I think if the goal is to have the center of the car over the braking line or over the suggested line through these two corners, you're probably just going to get the left sides. You'll be on the red and white curving, maybe just get it onto the yellow curving as you go through here. It's a very neat and tidy way to go through these corners, and it's what the braking line will show. Very neat and tidy way to go through there. But because we're maniacs, that's not the line that we're going to be taking. The line I'm going to be playing around with e-brake, is what I'm going to try and do, and it'll usually take me a lap or two to get into rhythm on it. But is I want to get the car slowed down so that I can actually turn in, and I'm not just going to get my left sides on the yellow curbing. I'm actually going to intend to straddle the yellow curbing completely, bumpity, 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 and straddle the yellow curbing completely, bumpity, 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 wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin, and get back out. Now, on a controller, it's much easier to do that, and if the car gets, the car's going to bounce a lot. You're going to get tires off the ground. Controller guys, I think, will have an easier time kind of flicking the stick through it to counter steer. For the wheel users, I think it's a challenge. If you're doing sim steering, I think doing that line is going to be a bit of a challenge, especially coming off the second set of curbs, because you're going to have a bit of that steering to the right end, and depending on how you hit the second yellow curb, it's going to launch the back of the car to the left. So we might be doing a little tank slappering coming out of the corner. So that's part of the things I want to practice on the wheel. It's part of my practice on that. But my general feeling is, if you can get that line through that chicane, straddling the other curbs without upsetting the car too much or having to do too much steering correction, it does, at least in my opinion, I think you can carry more speed. And certainly, if you got someone that's far enough in front of you, they kind of take the neat and tidy route, but you kind of bounce over the curbs, you might be able to get the run up into the last corner here, on the inside, just because you're carrying more speed through. It's a risk reward thing, carry more speed, but more risk of losing control, or you can be a little more conservative on the line through, heading up here. The other thing is I don't know, tire wear, but again, I don't know, a little bit of slide there, I don't know it's going to make so much of a difference where you're going to lose a lap's worth of wear. But heading up to the final corner, third gear. For me, braking is, you can kind of see the temporary lighting rig that's just behind the segment score, up at level 50. For me, peripherally, I've kind of gotten used to seeing as that goes out of view. That's about where I'm kind of just braking to slow the car down. And this final corner, on my own, probably do it in third gear. And not on my own or in traffic, second, maybe if I have to. And then out on the front stretch, I can go ahead and use a bit of the curbing the outside of there. A little rougher than some of the other ones, but again, I think you can use it. And then you're back on the front straightaway, and that is the slow lap of the Nurburgring GP course in this BMW. So let's go back to settings. I need to get rid of that. Okay, go ahead and save. And we're going to exit out to event menu. So that concludes the track guide portion of this Twitch stream. I need to practice. I'm going to do a mock race, kind of full race length, and I'm going to again, partly it's to revalidate the tires. I think what I did on the controller is a little less wear than what I'll be able to do on the wheel, but we'll sort that out. So what I need to do is, because we're streaming Twitch through the Xbox, and there's bitrate issues when you've been streaming for a long time, I'm going to just pause the stream and kind of resets the audio a little bit, set back up. We'll do the mock race, 16 laps of the Nurburgring GP, and hopefully then, still be able to finish the stream and catch the Indy 500. So let's go ahead and just go ahead and pause here for a second. Be right back. Okay, let me go ahead and reset. Okay, we're back. So we're going to go advanced setup. And again, if you want to practice your own race, again, the AI is not racing completely like you will have on Thursdays, but at least it gives me traffic to kind of work through. But let's go ahead. We're going to do circuit race. Skip that. GP number of laps. I believe it is 16 for the Nurburgring. Starting time of day random. Rolling 24 times. We'll go random. Again, I think for any given week, if it comes up rain, we'll do that race in the rain. If there's already been a rain race, let's say race 1 was rainy, race 2 will not. So we'll see how that works out. I think that's the rules Matt's doing. For sake of practice, my general rule of thumb on the tire strategy on the wet tires, if we have to run wets, is start of the race, I'm probably just going to fill the tank halfway, put the wets on, and see how it plays out. At least if I can get the half distance, I can pit. If I have to pit early, the only thing it wouldn't let me do is run long. But the other strategy with that is just put full fuel in, stick on the wet tires, then you have complete freedom of you can pit anytime you want because you don't have to worry about fuel concerns. But you are carrying extra weight. So again, it gets into the little things that impact tire wear. But we'll go weather random, dynamic track rubbing on at 50. I think Matt runs that. I have to look at that next time on Thursday. Number of drivatars. Yes, all the drivatars. Cars. I want to limit this to just the Beamers. At least when I was last season, when I started doing the last week, when I just was doing the hold-ins, the AI seemed to be a little more consistent. So we just do that, put you all in the CSLs. Rules, sport rules. Ghost Backmaster off, tire wear 4.0. We're all subjected to 4 times tire wear. No DQs. Standing start, random order. I will drop to the back. Roll off delay, no. Mandatory pit stops, yes. Everybody has to do at least one. And that should be it. Let's go ahead and accept all. And while that loads in, and the nice lady tells us about Nurburgring. Oh, fog. Tell us about the Nurburgring.
The Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit was built to the highest safety standards and opened in 1984 after the treacherous Nurburgring Nordschleife track was classified unsafe for the world's best open-wheel racers.
Very good. Okay, so what's the conditions? Patchy fog. Okay, starting at noon, so we are going to be racing into the night. And patchy fog then will probably be, it's too bad we don't get like an ambient weather, ambient temperature, at least air temperature. But that doesn't necessarily give us guidance on what track temperature is, because when it's sunny out, let's say it's sunny 80 degrees, air temperature might be 80 degrees, but then track temperature, depending on the sunlight, could be over 100. But baby steps, I guess, with Forza on information they'll give us. But let's go ahead. All right, let's look at our strategy here. So, it's 16 laps. A single stop on medium and hard would give you flexibility. As far as like if you start on the hard tire, you don't necessarily have to run 11 laps. If you're going to start on the medium, you really do want to run that tire as long as you can. But then this one as well. 16 laps, 8, 5, 13. It might be a hard, soft race. Who knows? I don't know if a two-stopper will work here, but I think what I'm going to do is, let's see. You know what? I'm going to try a single stop. I want to try the hard tires for 11 laps and do the softs for 5, and see if see how long they last. So, but we'll start on the hard tires. I'm used to hard tires. And for fuel, I don't want to mess with fuel. So we're just going to go, what was it, 60%? Yeah, we'll just do 60% fuel. Done. And we'll go ahead and start race. Looks like a mid-pack, so should just be able to slightly move to the right here and hopefully not get hit. Hey, there's Stu. Oh, that's somebody else, but that looked like Stu's paint job. Okay, so hard tires, got to be a little careful. A little bit wide here. Kind of take advantage of slow AI on the start. Okay, there's slow, and then there's like painfully slow. I just left it in third there. That seemed to be fine. I got someone to my outside, so I got to leave a little space. Ah! Brake at the gantry, just again in traffic. I don't know exactly where they're going to brake, and the AI has been doing the brake pretty early from time to time. I expect some check brakes here. I made it through pretty nicely. Almost went down to first gear. Probably should have. Oh, that's a little bit late. Oops, wrong button. See how Ron driver's car was coming back across a little bit, kind of for that late apex on the way out. A little bit of a break there. Ooh, Ron. Oh, come on. I almost put it in 6th. All right, let's see if I can get... Oh. I probably took that right-hander a little earlier than I should have. Up. Didn't really need to brake for the left-hander into the Schumacher S, but definitely needed to watch the throttle coming out. Ooh, almost went a little too wide until they messed that corner up. And if you want an apex for the final corner, yeah, it's where the Armco starts, actually. If you want to take a little wider entry and get the car to the inside by where that Armco starts on the pit lane, it's a decent apex to aim for. And what I'm going to do is I'll do a tire check as I'm coming to the line at lap 5, and my hope is that I'm still less than 30%. 30%? Yeah. Hopefully only like 20 to 25. So that was winding out in 3rd. So, ooh, that was the back tires just started to spin up, similar to what I had happen at one of the corners of Mid-Ohio. Just a little too much gas with steering in, and the back wanted to step out. It's very foggy back here. I was a little bit late. that wall there. So even though I'm kind of diving to the apex under braking, and I'm still kind of, as I'm late for this corner, I'm still kind of treating that hairpin kind of as a mini double apex. I'll bring the car off the curbing just a little bit, not quite as far as what the driver car called me dirty did in front of me, but slowly reeling Lucky in. Lucky, when are you going to come back and race with us? So you can see I'm really not, even in second gear, I'm really not committing back to the throttle until I'm off those curves and I got all 4 tires on the pavement. Okay, where are we at? All right, so 11 laps. Looks like it's still the target. Whoops. Bring it up a little bit and then late apex it out. I'm going to take a look. Oh, nice little defensive line there from the driver tires. They're not all bad. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to see if I can get the run out. So I'm not going to take a look. I'm not going to try to outbrake into the chicane. What I want to try and do is outrun him up to the hairpin if I can. Advantage of... Oh, that's going to be a big one.
Total time penalty is about half a second.
All right, definitely going to take a look into one. It's going to have the advantage in the next couple of corners. So we're going to set up wide, let him take the lead. Let's see if I can get a better exit out of here. Nope. Okay, next one is set up for the hairpin. So I'm not going to run up on him. I'm going to give myself a little bit of breathing room in case he makes a mistake, but then it doesn't help if I make mistakes. So I'm not going to have the run to the hairpin. So now we're going to set up the run out of the Schumacher S. Off the gas as I get to the curbing. Roll back in. Oh, he had to check out, but I had to as well. Looks like I got it done. Okay. It would help if I'd be in the right gear as well. Still like third gear through here. Second gear will give you a little more of a punch out of the corner, but then you're also having to deal with wheel spin because you're really high up in the rev range at that point. Definitely getting some slidey out of the tires. I'm wondering if I'm still taking that right-hander too early. Excuse me. Okay, lift as I get to the curves. Back in as I get to the apex. There's a little too much braking for that, but that's all right. And a little too early. Not getting a good angle out of that chicane. Starting to slide now. I'm not at 50% yet, which is good. But yeah, they're starting to understeer a little bit. Oh, that was early. Wow. barely see the curbing. Okay, be a little safer this time. Looks like Venus is taking a look. Hey, you look on the outside, but you're probably going to try and... headlights, which only makes the fog worse. Still not at 50 yet. Guess I don't think I'm at 50. Almost. Watch, it'll pop up here in the hairpin. Oh, that was very late. There's the minor tire wear. A little bit earlier, just it's harder to see. Tires are getting worn. That's a little too. Oh. Let me go that way so I'm not spinning in the middle of traffic. Well, that's not good for tire wear. This is why we practice. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to pit this lap. Especially after that spin. Okay, pitting in the Nurburgring. Brake where the inside curving starts on the right. It catches you at pit wall. So I'll time this later after the broadcast. But wait, did I set for 17 laps? Uh-oh. I just saw the lap count and it said 17. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I know I said 17 fuel. I might be in trouble because I may have gone one lap more on the lap count than I should have. Yep, it did. I keep it to the right here. But 12, so I got to go 6 laps on these tires. So let's see how we do on the softs. So, sorry, again, the race should have been 16 laps. I don't know why I didn't catch that when I set it up, but be that as it may. So I've got 2 problems. Well, I did set for 17 laps of fuel, but I don't know. Again, it was that 1 to 2 ticks into 17, not a full 17. So, and as I said, these tires, softs are going to last about 5 laps. I might be in tire trouble. Fuel I can work with. So let's talk about fuel and tire saving. So how do you save? Look, fuel save is easier to talk about, and we see it all the time. I see it a lot in IndyCar. I don't know if Formula One you'll see it as much because they carry all the fuel that they need for the race. But the basis of fuel saving is twofold. Under braking, coming up to braking, you just lift a little early and then do your braking, especially off long straightaways. And then the other side of it is on acceleration. As you're accelerating, you short shift. Don't let it wind up all the way. IndyCar, you'll hear them let off more. Let's say I'll let off here and then downshift it. Now, if you're doing that on a fuel save, those things to save fuel, you're braking, you're easing off the throttle earlier, you're being gentle on the throttle out of corners, especially if you don't have it in gear. That in turn will actually help preserve the tires as well because you're not stressing them as much, because you're not carrying as much speed into the braking. You're not trying to push the car to out of a corner like full throttle. So let's see what we do here. So the idea is, and then as far as the tires, again, I just want to be as gentle as possible. The rears are going to last longer than the fronts are, so I'm just not going to really put any more steering into them as I need to, and I'm going to listen to what the sounds the game gives me. I don't want any high-pitched that sound is fine, but it's when it starts getting really, really high that's you're starting to put heat in the tires, and sounds you don't want to hear when you're trying to turn the car. That's a little bit more tire wear than you want, especially if you're doing it continuously over the lap. Someone's gone wide. Okay, so I hit it 11, 20%. I've just got to be somewhat gentle because I think I think I can get the 6 laps out of it. It's just that final lap is going to be really sketchy. So if I'm not, wouldn't surprise me if I'm over 60% by the time I start the last lap, but we'll keep an eye on that. Take a look, Josh. Oh, very nicely done. Oh, we're going a little wide. Don't bring it back. Keep going.
More.
Thank you. Check the tires at the end of lap 15. Hopefully, it's going to be close. I think I'm okay on fuel though. If it just gave me the 3-lap warning past start finish with 3 to go, be on fumes, but I think I'm okay. I'm just gonna leave it in third here. Okay, at night, remember I was talking about earlier when I said, oh, I look for the green? Can't see it at all coming down the hill at night. The fog is probably the biggest culprit, but I was supposed to do a tire check. Well, and again, my tire estimates might be off a little bit. Maybe the wheel users can get a little more life out of them. Also, I have to figure that for me, the first lap of this race, I'm probably not pushing tires as hard as I want, in traffic as I am on my own, because there is so much traffic. Because I'm sure that first lap was really, really slow. Again, it's all the little things that play into it. right now, I'm just going to see if I can pick up a couple more spots before the end of this race. Oh. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me.
Total time penalty
What?
is about 3 seconds.
Game giveth
Final
and
lap.
taketh away. At this point, I'm just trying to hold on to 13th. Ooh, that was a bad downshift. So I got to put another second. Venus. Whoa, that was a little bit sketchy. The car didn't really turn as much as I thought it should have. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh wait, I have 3 seconds. No, never mind. Ah, I still finished 13th, or it gave it to me. I don't know why, because Snoop was definitely closer than 3 seconds. Anyhow, 36, yeah. So I have no idea how I brain farted on the lap count. And actually, controller estimates were not. Hard times seemed to be kind of in line, maybe 11, maybe 12 laps. So, and then and it looks like I got about 6 out of the softs. And again, I wasn't really pushing them as well, mainly because I was in that thing of like, okay, A, I have to make them last, and B, did I have enough fuel? So yeah, that 5-6 lap might be accurate. And then I would probably say the mediums you might get a 9th lap out of it. So that's good. This is why we practice. So be that as it may, I'll take a 13th because should have finished higher, but again, I had a little bit of an off. So Tom Bohar, very nice third, Thane in second, and Lucky in first, even though he doesn't race with us anymore. So, and in rodeo, that Pink Whitney livery seems to be pretty popular. That's now two other driver cars, not Stu, that are running it. So I wonder who's I wonder if that is also reflected on your downloads. But with that, I'm going to end this live stream. I'm going to go back and hopefully it's, well, I don't want to say hopefully it's still raining. Hopefully they haven't started the race yet, and I can kick back and enjoy the Indy 500. So rooting for Connor Daly. I mean, he's starting pretty far in the back, and he's got a quick car. It's just a question of, can he work his way through? I'm not sure. I'd love to see him win it, but I just want him to have a really good race. Show what that car could actually do. Um, Penske looks really. They look to be the ones to beat. I think from what they found, whatever trick they found in the suspension setup. Um, but we'll also be rooting for Colton. Looks like he's got a really good car in traffic, and if you just want to root for somebody out of spite to beat Penske because it's root for Rossi. And so, but again, fingers crossed that it's a really good race. Hope you guys having a great Memorial Day weekend, and happy racing, because there's lots of it today.